Everybody, welcome to our 2025 Cal Spring Football Press Conference. We're joined here by Travis family head football coach Justin Wilcox. As always, put your name in the chat to ask a question, and we'll take your question in the order that they are listed in the chat. We'll get started with Jim McGill from Bear Insider.
Hey, Justin, this is probably the most significant number of coaching changes we've seen in your tenure. How has that transition gone, and how do you feel like it could potentially impact this season, having sort of new blood, new ideas?
Yeah, it's the transition's been really, really smooth. We had obviously a number of new faces on offense, and with the rules like they are, you actually get some time with your players in the winter, up to 2 hours. So we got a significant amount of time working with the players, but the staff itself on offense has been it's been great. A ton of energy, some really great football minds in there. Brian obviously has a long history in coordinating offense, and having him here, and then the other guys in the room, Kyle Cefalo and Coach Anai Rollo, Mike Safel, Julian Griffin, who just joined us, been really, really impressive. So it's been a lot of fun being in there with those guys. Again, a lot of great football and a lot of great teaching going on, and our players, both sides of the ball, but especially offense, you see the energy. Coming up into the building. I think the guys on offense, those players have been up more on their own, just voluntary office hours and spending time on their own watching tape, and it's been a lot of fun to watch.
If you were to summarize Coach Harson's offensive philosophy or style, how would you characterize it?
Yeah, is this where you want the name, like the what you call the offense? And I know that's catchy, but I would say, there's going to be a lot of variety. You're going to see multiple personnel groupings. There's going to be different paces. Have the ability to run plays from the line of scrimmage out of no huddle. There's huddle offense. You're going to see, different formations and motions. Very deliberate. But I don't know. It's like a wide open pro with the ability to go fast and also slow it down and get in the huddle and do some real specific game plan things.
Okay, thanks.
All right, next up is Jay Curtis from Cal Bears NSI.
Yeah, Justin, why did you feel you needed to overhaul the offensive coaching staff?
Well, we were going to make some changes on offense and supplement some things, and there were some guys that had the opportunity to stay who chose different opportunities elsewhere. We wish those guys nothing but the best. And so it ended up being basically everybody being new. Ultimately, we gotta be better, all of us, and we have to, score. And on offense, we gotta execute in special teams, and we gotta stop people on defense. And that's the difference between us, winning and losing games. And this is this is the environment we're in. There's a lot of new people and new faces. There's movement every year, and sometimes there's more than others. And this year we had, quite a bit of movement on our coaching staff. So we're excited about the guys that are here, and it's an opportunity for all of us to get better.
Can you just tell me who won't participate in spring ball this spring?
Yeah, I'll have a full list for you on Wednesday. It's going to be a pretty small group of guys, fortunately. So we've got a big roster for spring football, and most everybody's going to be available to compete. There's a handful of guys that'll be out, but we'll give that to you on Wednesday.
All right, next up is Joaquin Ruiz from the Daily Cal.
Hey, Coach. Just curious, you mentioned some of the new faces, a lot of transformation with that coaching staff. Can you talk about Peter's move to the NFL and also what that means for the defense?
Yeah, Peter got an opportunity that obviously it hurts for us. I'm really happy for him. He's an excellent football coach. I don't know that he got the credit he deserved. Really, really good coach, and obviously people up there notice. And he had a chance to go coach in the NFL with the Saints, and something that he felt he was eager to do and right for him at this time. So we wish him nothing but the best. Part of our role here is to help people move up and improve their careers, and so really happy for him. We have really good coaches on our defensive staff. We got a really good rhythm right now. There's going to be guys in that room who will take on increased responsibility, and we'll also be looking to supplement that room with an open coaching position. And talking to a number of people right now, we don't feel a rush because we have people in every room, every position's accounted for, and like I said, we have some very, very good coaches on defense who are going to be able to take on more responsibility, and they're ready for that as well.
And coach, I have one more for you. Thank you. Just curious, you went out and landed 2 top-tier quarterbacks in response to Fernando's transfer. Can you talk about some of the expectations with Jaron and Devin?
Yeah, well, the expectation is they come in and get familiar with the offense first and foremost, which they've done a really good job of. Both those guys, I think they're different points in their career. Devin coming from Ohio State in a national championship team, you tell he's been coached very well. He's a really, really mature guy. It's been impressive to watch him just operate around the building. And so I'm excited for him to get on the field. And then Jaron is a really, really fun young man to be around. He's got a great personality, has been fantastic since he's been here. He's learning a lot, and he's a very, very talented thrower.
Just a reminder, if you have a question, they'll put it in the chat. We'll go back to Jay Curtis.
Yeah, Justin, some coaches that are eliminating the spring game. I think in the past you've just sort of done situational stuff in the spring game. What do you plan to do this year, and what are sort of the pros and cons of the spring game?
Yeah, I think the pros are you make it a competitive atmosphere, especially for players that haven't had as many game reps. And I think we'll continue to do that and put them in some situational football and create an atmosphere that might be, a really good evaluation tool. And we're going to continue with that. It'll be on the 12th of April on that Saturday. And so we'll get people out here, get them a chance to watch some of the new faces. And I think, again, it's a really good evaluation tool for some of those players who haven't had quite as many game reps. Now, will we run everything? No. When it's on TV or it's recorded or you make it open, we don't technically do everything in the playbook, so to speak, but it'll be a really good opportunity for those guys to go out and compete in another evaluation.
Are you worried about having it televised and tampering issues?
I've heard that out there, yeah, I don't know. You can find issues with all of it, I mean, you can find issues with having it. You can find issues with not having it. I don't know that that's going to stop anybody from, making a decision on our roster or somebody else's roster. We want to help our team get better. We're trying to coach the guys and prepare for the fall the best we can. So that's really the litmus test for all the decisions we make. Is this going to help us play better in the fall?
Let's go back to Jim McGill.
So offensive line has been somewhat problematic for a number of years, and including last season. And you bring in Coach and a young guy who had a ton of success at New Mexico, and he's brought in a ton of portal guys who are big bodies, and then a few prep guys too. What are you looking for out of the line, and what are your thoughts on some of these portal transfer guys that are coming in? What kind of impact they might be able to make early on in the process?
Well, we're looking for improvement at every position, and we need to get better at O-line. And from all those guys, we just want to see competition. And I think the competition in that room will make everybody better. There've been some guys that have kind of been banged up and in and out, and that's part of the game. But we brought in a number of guys to make that room more and more competitive so we can play at a higher level.
And can you talk a little bit more about the defensive coordinator situation in spring? Are you largely going to be calling a lot of the plays? Or are you going to be relying pretty much on your position coaches to do that?
Yeah, there's guys that have been here a while who are prepared for larger roles and more responsibility. We'll make some announcements when it's appropriate. So we're not going to be changing language midstream. We're not installing a new system from top to bottom. Anybody that comes in here would be obviously, like, we're always trying to get better. And so any new idea or, nuance and something we can improve upon, we'll always look to do that. But we're not going to revamp the language or the structure of the defense. And those guys who've been on our staff for a number of years are ready for more responsibility. And there will be some adjustments in titles and who's doing what, but I'll wait to announce that, at a later date.
With your experience on the defensive side of the ball, might you be taking a bigger role in play calling this year?
We'll see. I don't know that it'll go that far. We got some really, I keep saying this, we got really good coaches on that side of the ball. They're going to have increased responsibility, and exactly who's doing what, I'll report at a later date, but we're in a really good position right now, and anybody that comes in here will supplement that room.
Okay, thanks.
All right, next we'll go to Jackson Moore from 24/7.
Coach, we just saw 4 of your players in the combine, and seeing as they're all concentrated on one part of the defense, can you share a bit about what the team looks like this year in the back end?
Well, we're gonna, the defensive back room is gonna look a lot different. Lost some really good players back there, guys that have been with us a long time, and not only those guys at the combine, but some of those other players that had been veterans. I'm thinking like Miles Williams. And so I'm really interested to watch that defensive back room this spring and see who does what. There's some good players in there, but when you lose Noel Williams, All-American, and Craig Woodson, who was a 6-year player, All ACC, he's going to get drafted. Marcus did a good job for us. I wish Marcus would have had one more year with us, but Marcus did a good job. And then Miles Williams, like I said, there's some veterans back there. So the DB room got to be reloaded, and I'm excited to see who does what. The linebacker room, obviously with Cade coming back, we feel really good about him, as everybody does. And but the other linebacker positions going to be very interesting to see who does what there, because Teddy is an excellent football player. Again, going to be a draft pick, performed really well, and all the reports out of the combine was how impressed people were with those guys. Obviously physically, but just their their football IQ and their demeanor. They're very, very polished pro candidates. So a lot's going to change on defense, and those new faces, and which means new opportunities, and it's exciting for us. But really at every level of the defense, there's going to be a lot of competition, and so spring's going to be really, really important.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go back to Joaquin Ruiz from the Daily Cal.
Hey, Coach. Sorry for not having the camera on. I was trying to escape Dwennell Hall peacefully, but curious about their wide receivers room. Has some change. Can you expect Tobias to be healthier this year, and Keon, and then also just some of the guys who you also added after some departures?
Yeah, I think the health part is big, for Tobias and Keon being able to get out there and compete. There's some talented guys in that room. I think it's just a matter of who's going to do what, who's going to separate themselves. I'm very, very eager to see how that shakes out here in spring initially, and through summer and into fall camp. But there's some talented guys in there. There's been some guys who have stood out in this winter conditioning period, which has been very competitive across the board at all positions. And we made significant gains in strength and conditioning, and it's shown up in that receiver room. But we'll see. We will see. There's guys that you would hope will make a move, but we got to go do it on the field.
Next up, Matt Moreno from Rivals.
Morning, Coach. I want to talk about a couple different position groups. The running back group, you have a lot of familiar faces, a lot of guys coming back, led by Jaden. How is Jaden doing, and kind of what are your thoughts on this running back group you have this year?
Yeah, Jaden's doing well, healthy, looks good out there. It's great having, we feel, Jaden and Jet, those are two, those are starting running backs. Jet's a starting caliber running back. Obviously, we know what Jaden is. After that, that's the depth in the running back room in spring. It is going to be really exciting to watch who does what. I think it's going to be very, very competitive. So we'll see. There's guys that are going to get plenty of opportunities, and then it's up to them to make the most of those opportunities.
And then the outside linebacker group, you obviously lose Xavier. David has moved on. Feels like it's pretty wide open there with kind of the competition. Obviously, Ryan has kind of established himself. But what do you like about the outside linebacker group, and what are your expectations for that group going into the spring?
Yeah, we feel really, really good about Ryan McCullough. I mean, I think he's poised for a big spring and a big year. Very, very hardworking, passionate football player. He's got a lot of tools, so really excited about Ryan. And then you mentioned it. Other than that, it's going to be very, very competitive. I mean, we will see. And that's the beauty of, when you do lose a number of players, it's, there's a bit of the who's going to do what. But it's also really exciting because you're going to see who steps up when they get an opportunity. And there's been productive off-season workouts, and we've done strength training, and we've done meetings and walkthroughs, and all that's great. But at the end of the day, what matters most is football and what we do out on the field. And so I'm eager to see that thing shake out too.
All right, we'll go back to Jim McGill.
Justin, you mentioned strength gains. Can you talk a little bit about Coach Novak? What kind of style he brings to the strength and conditioning program, and will there be some type of different emphasis on injury prevention since there's been sort of an inordinate amount of injuries in recent years?
Yeah, you're always looking to reduce those. I don't know if anybody's ever succeeded in eliminating injuries, but we're trying to reduce those. It's been a very aggressive 7 weeks in the weight room and on the field. I think it would be great the players will probably have some great insight for you on that, but measuring certain measurements in lifting and running, our conditioning and some of the conditioning testing that we're doing, flexibility, explosiveness, all those things has been a lot of fun to record those and publish those. So guys are seeing them every day when they walk in. I mean, they're all over the TVs in the locker rooms. And so it's very competitive because anytime you publish something or post it, people naturally are going to compete. So we got a lot of that going on. The conditioning aspect of it has been noticeable. And so I'm excited for those guys to be able to take what they've done in the weight room and on the field and strength and conditioning and apply it to football. But we've seen significant gains, and Coach Novak and his staff, he's got a great staff. And they've done a phenomenal job.
What's the carryover in mentality that they pick up in the strength and conditioning program to putting it on the field?
Well, I think it's he talks about finding strain, taking strain in the weight room, finding work, adding value. All those things apply to football. And they hear that each and every day in the weight room, how they push each other, how they push themselves first and how they push each other. The communication that goes on from player to player in the weight room or on the field during conditioning, what happens when it gets hard. The onus on improvement, taking accountability for improving week to week. And that could be, your body weight. It could be, your accountability in the weight room. It could also be lifts and timed drills that we're doing. And it's very competitive. We chart things in their team runs, which we've had on Tuesday and Thursday for the last 2 months. And so I think all of that applies to football. And so it does it's great not only to prepare your body, but to prepare your mind, the teamwork aspect of it, the communication, how you talk to your teammates, what you expect and demand of yourself and your teammates, all of that carries over to football.
Okay, thanks.
All right, well, that's a Pedro Ruiz for the Daily Count.
Coach, can you talk about the kicking position and how that's shaping up so far? It's been a topic of the past few seasons in Berkeley. I'm just curious how it looks.
We'll find out. We brought in Kyle, who's got a big leg, confident in what he can do. But I would agree with you. We got to continue to improve in the kicking area. We did a great job on kickoffs last year. I thought kickoff was one of our best special teams, and a lot of those were touchbacks. But obviously, our field goal unit, we gotta be more efficient there. And so we'll put him in position along with the other guys on the roster during spring to try and create some of those environments the best we can.
All right, go back to Matt Moreno from Rivals.
The GM position has become very prominent. It feels like this offseason more than any other. How is that going to manifest itself for you guys, and kind of what's your approach on the personnel side, whether it's expanding staff or kind of just your overall approach?
Yeah, I think you got to continue to grow the recruiting, staffing departments. The way college football is changing, that's I think that's everybody across college football, and some people are doing it, quicker or bigger than others. But I do think that's part of what we're doing, is growing that recruiting and evaluation and staffing on the player recruitment side of it. You got to evaluate a lot of people. And, when you have the portal and you have high school and you have junior college, that's a lot of people to evaluate and organize. And so adding staffing there, we've got a really good, strong recruiting staff. And they're hopeful to be an announcement here in the short term regarding the GM position, which would be really, really exciting for all of us, especially here in football.
And what will those duties be, and kind of how will that change your day-to-day operations?
Well, I don't want to get ahead of myself. That's not for me to announce, but we're excited about the prospect, and when that happens, how big that could be for football and continuing to grow football, because it has changed. I mean, it's changed significantly with the number of players that you're talking to each and every year about joining your roster and managing your roster. Those things have changed significantly in the last 3 or 4 years.
It feels like head coaches have gotten more back to like, I just want to coach football, and maybe leave that to other people. Is that something you share, or has that been a trend you've seen as well, where coaches are like, hey, just let me kind of coach football?
You certainly hear that a lot. I will just tell you this, Matt, that the role of the head football coach since 2019 or 18 is completely different. It is completely different. We all started coaching football way back when. I guess I can't speak for everybody, but most coached football because you like coaching football and spending time with the players and developing a plan and how to help those players improve and play the teams you play from week to week. And in the last few years, that has changed a lot for a lot of folks in this role. And so I would imagine most of them would say that, but you got to do whatever the job requires. And that's my job, is to do whatever's best for Cal football. And if that means, acting in different roles, then that's what I'm going to do. And if we can help make our staff and program better, I'm all for it. And I'm excited about the prospect of a few people joining our staff to help us in those ways.